Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics. And we finally made it to the season finale of Star Trek Picard's first season. I'll be reviewing the first part of the finale, Et in Arcadia Ego, Part 1. So, we pick up from the end of last episode, and the Siren is traveling through a transwarp conduit to reach the homeworld of the synths that the Romulans want to destroy, and they arrive at the planet, which is called Capellius. And then Narek shows up, and he starts to attack them, and then the Borg cube shows up too. And then the Siren is attacked by some sort of giant flowers. Okay, that's interesting. And then the Siren plunges into the atmosphere, and the giant flower is incinerated by the heat of entry to the atmosphere. So, really, not the best defense system one could think of. And then the Borg cube enters the atmosphere as well. Now, after landing, the others on board the Siren learn about Picard's Irrimatic syndrome and that he's dying. And then they go to the Borg cube, which also landed on the planet. And they find some former Borg drones are still alive on the cube. And then they go to a village where they meet the synths that live on the planet. And then we meet Alton Inigo Sung, played by Brent Spiner himself. So, apparently, Noonien Sung, the man who created Data, and Lore, and B4, had a son that was never mentioned once in the history of Star Trek. Can we call some sort of moratorium on characters having close relatives that pop up out of nowhere, despite never being mentioned in the character's history, because it's getting a little annoying? Spock had a half-brother we never heard about. Then he had a adopted human sister that we never heard about. Dr. Soong created B4, another model similar to Data that we never heard about. And now we learn that Dr. Soong has a son that we never heard about. All right, whatever. So how long before we meet Geordi's long-lost father? Or Seven of Nine's long-lost half-brother? Or Elnor's long-lost cousin? Or Kirk's long-lost twin? So Picard warns them about the Romulans that are coming to destroy them and urges them to evacuate the planet before the Romulans arrive. Then Picard meets Sutra. And she's another copy of Soji, except that she has Data-style eyes and skin coloring. And it turns out that she can perform mind melds because she taught herself. An android taught herself how to mind meld. Oh, for fuck's sake. She didn't spend a lifetime training her mind to suppress and control her emotions and ordering her thoughts to perform logical mentations. She just took some online courses, I guess. She studied at DeVry. So, okay, yeah, she can be a non-Vulcan and just teach herself how to mind meld, even if you're an android, sort of, with a synthetic artificial brain, kind of. And she wants to mind meld with Agnes to see the vision that Commodore O showed Agnes back in episode 7, because she doesn't believe the show is as bad as people are saying, and she needs to see it for herself. So she mind melds with Agnes and sees the vision, and it turns out that the vision was meant for synthetic brains, not organic brains, which is why the vision drives some people crazy or to suicide, and why it doesn't seem to make much sense to people who see it, but it makes sense to Sutra. And it turns out it's a message from a race of synthetics who left the message for any other synthetics who find it to tell them that if they are threatened by organics, they can summon these other synths who will come to destroy the organics that threaten them. And then we learn that Alton Inigo Sung is working on a device that can transfer someone's mind into an android brain. So yeah, this is how Picard is going to survive. When he starts to die from the aromatic syndrome, they'll transfer his brain into an organic or into an android body. Anyone want to take a bet on whether or not the android body is going to be female? I know what you're up to, Klutzman. So then the synths capture Narek, who survived, and they bring him to the village. And Soji confronts him and he tells her he loves her, but she's not buying it. And then Sutra shows up, and she kills the android that is guarding him. Okay, I know it's not really kill, but you know what I mean. She kills the android guarding Narek, and then she lets him free, and then she uses the murder of the female android to argue that all organic beings are a threat, that humans are no less of a threat than the Romulans are, and she argues that they should summon the synthetic race that left the message to protect them. Soji and Agnes actually also both wind up agreeing to this, because in the 24th century, bitches be crazy, yo. And they place Picard under house arrest. And then we see the Romulans arrive, and then the episode ends there. Okay, so, you know, as far as episodes of this show go, I mean, you know, it's just more of the same. I mean, there's something here, you know, I can see a show here that could have been good. I see a show that could have worked, but there's just too much stuff in here that doesn't make sense. I mean, Sutra can just perform mind melds. How does an android perform mind melds? It was always largely, I mean, I always kind of assumed that the mind melding was kind of an organic or biological process or organic process. So how does a artificial being then mind meld with an organic brain? I don't know. Let me say that Issa Briones, or Briones, I don't know how you say her name. She's actually quite good in this episode. She's been pretty meh as Soji, I guess. But she actually does a pretty good job of portraying Sutra as a very different type of being. You can really buy that these are two different individuals, and she does a really good job of selling Sutra's cold, manipulative personality. However, I have a few questions. If these synthetics have a hidden society on Coppelius, then why was Soji working on the Borg cube? And why was Dodge living on Earth? Both of them oblivious to the fact that they're artificial beings. What about Soji's mother? Why trick Soji into thinking that she's human by giving her fake memories and a fake mother? And why was Maddox on Free Cloud instead of here on Coppelius, for that matter? And hey, since Alton Sung was here on Coppelius, wasn't killing Maddox kind of pointless? And shouldn't Agnes be a little more emotionally affected to learn that she murdered her mentor and lover for, nothing? If they're a colony of synthetic beings who avoid contact with organics because they don't trust them, then why do they use giant space flowers, organic creatures, as a defense system? Wouldn't they have something, artificial like defense satellites? And also, these flowers suck as a defense system anyway. And why are the Borg even a part of this story? They don't do anything. 7 of 9 took control of the cube, but it amounted to nothing. Why did the cube even show up here at the end? It just immediately crashes. And also, if a Borg ship crash landed on this planet, shouldn't it be a complete wreck? And shouldn't the impact from one of these Borg cubes be the equivalent of an asteroid collision and cause a massive level of destruction? Oh. Okay, I could go on, but we're almost to the end of this thing, so I'm just going to wrap this up, and I'll see you all in the next review. Also, if you enjoy this content, please hit the like button on your way out, and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications of more videos, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.